Okay, so it's 4:11 on the 19th, Tuesday, which is dog washing day. So I'm gonna go wash a dog, which Stella has some new funk. I don't even know. It's weird because, I don't know, like, I never even heard of a bot fly before. But then I had some videos pop up that said, talking about bot flies. And so it just was like, oh, weird. And the guy who I heard talking about this one where I watched this whole video, he was in Costa Rica. He said you don't want to go out and buy the cows and stuff because there's such a bad thing with the bot flies. And so, anyways, yesterday, I don't know, doing something, rubbing Stella's neck, and all of a sudden I feel some weird thing. So I'm like, what the hell is that? So I start looking, and this whole part like pulls back, and then there is like, I don't know, it looked like a pussy kind of sore underneath. And I tried to cut, but then I was like, oh, am I going to be cutting skin? Like, what the fuck is this? And I kept hearing bot fly, bot fly. So I don't know. I went and looked up what does a bot fly wound look like. And it has a breathing hole. So it's like a bite with a hole in the middle so it can breathe as larvae, which you're not supposed to try and remove the larvae yourself. You're supposed to, is it black right there? Is it, you're supposed to go to a vet and let them, man, I keep seeing it looks like, whoa. That is so weird. Looks like this black hole right there. Anyways, I don't know, maybe I'm growing a dimple. I don't know what the hell is going on. So, anyways, this bot fly thing. So then I'm like, does she have a bot fly? And I'm looking and I'm like, it looks like there's a breathing hole there. And so I was like, fuck. I have no idea what the hell it is. So I put a bunch of aloe vera, and then my mom said, what about colloidal silver? So I washed it with colloidal silver, and I'm going to look at it again today in the light and see. But it's like, oh my God, it is one thing after another. I swear to God. It's just nonstop with the health things and trying to figure out, like, what do I do next? What do I do next? So I don't know. Now I'm going to get really focused on this weird line. That is so weird. I gotta stop looking at it. Maybe it's always there. That's the first time I've seen it. I don't know. It's weird. Everything's weird, though. Can't go looking at it. Okay, so eyes up here, eyes up here. So, anyways, I think I got the answer to the weird, creepy sound, though. So this morning, which last night was so fuckery, just absolute fuckery. It's like Stella could sleep, she's sleeping now, and but all night long it was fuckery. But I couldn't sleep either, so it was totally uncomfortable. I think I did fall asleep for a while because I had a weird as fucking hell dream that was about this giant spider, and it was weird because it was like in my mind I was like having a conversation with myself, like, no, it's real. That just happened. That wasn't in a dream. I'm like, what? That wasn't a dream? Where did I see it? Like, this is going on. But I was asleep. I'm having the weirdest dreams, dude. So I'm having this discussion with myself about this giant, I'm not kidding about how big the spider was. It was like huntsman size. It was giant. It wasn't like, oh, it's a big spider. No, this spider was like fucking 10 times the size of a fucking tarantula. Well, not 10 times the size, but like huntsman size, but huge. So then I'm having this whole discussion about, well, no, that's real and all that. Then there's this other thing moving around the room. And so I'm following it. It is, I don't know what the hell I would even call it. It was so fucking weird. But in this dream, I thought it was really happening. So I thought it was really in the room. And then somebody in my dream is telling me, yeah, that's really happening right now. And so I'm trying to not be scared of this thing. But it was like bigger than the spider. it moved weird as shit. It went around and it moved, and it was like these two long black things like this. And then it had these little things coming out of it, and it squirmed around like, not like a snake, but I don't know. It was like something from another world. And, but it was telling me not to be scared of it, not to be scared of this stuff. And I was like, oh my God, it was horrifying. But then I woke up and I was like, wait a minute. So that wasn't really happening. And so then I'm sitting here having all these thoughts like while I'm awake, but then was I really asleep? Because I can't even tell anymore. I have no fucking clue. But yesterday morning, so after I finished recording, hold on, because this was cool as shit. Because yesterday was my long dream that went on all night of this murder mystery that was one of the detectives in this murder mystery where I was seeing from all these different perspectives and seeing all sorts of weird shit in that one. The food thing still gets me. It's like, oh God, it was so disgusting. I would like to get that vision out of my mind. But the dream was, so anyways, yesterday after I finished recording, I go and I laid down for a while. I might have been up for a while. I don't know when it was, but I went and laid down. I was just like out, but I didn't know I was asleep. I thought I was still awake because I keep having these weird as shit dreams that it doesn't seem like I'm asleep. It seems like I'm awake. It seems like it's really happening. This is, I'm outside, which yesterday when I went to go walk the dogs, so after I finished recording and stuff, I go walk the dogs, the sky was so weird. I was like disappointed I didn't have my phone. I was like, this is the weirdest fucking sky. Like, I don't, I don't know what to say except for it's so obvious to me that there's multiple skies merging. And it was so weird. And there was this, I don't even know how to explain it. It was weird colors, it was weird shapes, it was weird, the whole thing. And then there was another sky behind it, and then there was a sky over here. It was weird as shit. So I see all this weird sky. And so I'm like looking and I'm like, oh, there's a portal. And like this opening of the frequency kind of. And I was looking around, oh, there's one. And then I'm looking like for faces and stuff. So I'm just looking at the sky, just trying to comprehend how it can look so fucking weird. And why do I seem to be the only person who's always out there looking at it going like, this is weird. When everybody else is just like, oh, it's normal. It's just regular. It's nothing to look at here. I'm like, what? So so then I come in and I'm sitting here, I don't know, probably on my phone, and my eyes start hurting, so I decide to go lay down because the dogs are doing this. And so I go lay down, and right away I'm in this dream that I thought was really awake. And so so it was, okay, so it was like this giant, this giant was in the sky, and he was coming towards me, and I wasn't scared or anything. And so I start waving to him, like, hey, how you going? And he smiles and he's waving to me, and he comes up really close, and then there's more of them, and then he starts going and going away, and I'm like, don't leave, come back for me. Which in one of my QHHTs, which I've talked about this before, there was something with the giants. It was something about like my family was involved with the giants, and they would come to our house, and then the government officials or something came after us, and then I saw them kill me. And so there was something, I don't know, maybe this is some Tartarian kind of thing or something back when there used to be more interaction with the giants. Maybe the giants are returning and coming back, not to like avenge themselves, but coming back for, because they wouldn't have really ever been gone. They would just be in another like dimension, another realm or something. So like receded out of our realm and then, you know, created their own or something. I don't know. That's what it seems like to me. But anyway, so it was like them coming back in the sky, like how these people are like, there's ships coming and all that, which I saw a bunch of videos where, what's his name, that guy who I've heard he's a psyop. He's real. Like, I don't know. Was his Greer or something? He's saying that we're about to have the hugest disclosure. So all these people were like, this is about to be it. This is it. And then there's a whole thing with astrology. Is saying over the next few weeks, this is a big change. This is, and there's so many when they start hearing this stuff, they start saying, oh, this is the split. This is the split. Which it remains to be seen when the split's going to come. I just see the split coming after people are woke up, because people aren't awake yet. And I don't see the purpose of them not waking up, of them, splitting from when they haven't even seen the truth. That doesn't make any sense to me. So to me, it is that this awakening thing is going to happen. Something is going to throw them where they're like shocked because it's not going what they think. And then they're going to see that they don't see the whole story. And so that's going to, which I heard somebody saying something about that maybe that was what I heard somebody saying about the astrology too, about people seeing what they haven't seen before. And the government, I guess, has also said like 8% of the people are going to freak out and do themselves in. It's going to be too much. And so they're going to do themselves in, which I know there's going to be a lot of that's going to happen. I know there's going to be a lot. And but I think a lot of it is not just that the world is not make sense, but it's also because the feelings they're going to have about themselves. Because it's like you've been doing this stuff in the dark thinking you could get away with it, and all of a sudden the lights come on and you got everybody watching you. And so it's going to be that kind of thing where, I don't know, I kind of feel like the people who had those repetitive dreams of coming to a test naked and they're late, it's kind of was like their precursor, like, be prepared for what's to come. So, I don't know. But that's the way I see it. And then the healing, this big healing thing starts happening, and people start really struggling with their healing. And then, and that is what causes this more energetic rift in the system, which creates the solar flash or the split or whatever. So that's what I think. I don't think we're right on the edge of it splitting with all these people still asleep. I think that there's, like I've been saying and saying and saying. Hold on. So, anyways, that's what I think. But, but if I don't know what the deal was with this dream with the giants. It was like them coming back and saying hi or something. It was so, they were so cute too. They were dressed cute. They were very cartoonish or something. It was really, it was such a cool dream. It was like I didn't want to wake up, and I really wanted them to take me with them. But anyways, but I know that there is, even if we're not like living, like, I don't know, there could be some realities in the age of Aquarius where you would go to a town and there would be giants living there. I don't know. Or there could be places where a real fairy tale kind of place, because the energy of the frequency is changing into that kind of frequency where, the fae are around us. The what are they called? Like mythical creatures are around us. That anything that can be created will be created. So, and any experience that a soul wants to experience will be available in this like realm or something. So that is kind of like how I see it. So anyways, but last night, or just a minute ago, because it's still last night, still tonight, not last night, tonight. It's very confusing for my brain, because I don't know, I get up in the middle of the night, sometimes I go back to sleep, but today I'm going to go watch dogs, so I probably won't. And then I was even thinking about going and floating, I don't know. But I've seen these other people also saying, like, what's the deal? It's like 60 degrees out, but the sun is burning my skin off. And I said, well, go put the thermometer out because I think the sun is about 40 degrees hotter than they say the air is. And that's what I found here, that it went up. The temperature thing couldn't even go up as high as the sun. And it had 120 was the last marking, but it had a whole space up above, which I would say was probably around 130. And I think they were saying it was like 80. But when I put the thermometer out in the sun, it went real up so fast too. So, you know, everything is bullshit. And then there's weird things with the sun. Like, that's a whole thing. It's a whole part of it where some people are, like, there's all sorts of speculation on the sun, which I do think it's like the portal of how we come into this world. And I'm sure it holds energy and knowledge and stuff. So, and I think as souls, we travel in and out of it to come into this realm. But anyways, I just saw something go across there. A minute ago, I saw a big spider. It wasn't as big as the one in the room, but it went running across the floor under the dog food dish going into, under the water dish thing, going into the, under the pallets. So if it stays under the pallets, just stay under there, man. But the, which I'm sure there's all sorts of spiders and bugs around me. But anyways, so I think I got the answer to the weird, creepy sound that night. So tonight, I'm sitting here, I'm drinking my tea, and so it was just a little while ago. See, what did I get up? Like at 2:23 or something like that. And so maybe it was around 3. But so I'm sitting here, and the dogs start, there's a sound, I guess, because all the dogs just jump up fast and go running out the thing and start barking immediately. So I'm like, oh, this must be it. So I grab my phone because it was already on my hand. So I grab my phone and I run over to the door, and I can hear this horrific sound. And so I started recording it real quick. And so I put a TikTok on. I said, does anybody know what this sound was? Well, Amy's up, and she got it, and she said, I think it's a fox. And so then I went on and listened to fox sounds, and I was like, oh, definitely that's a fox. And even though it wasn't the same noise, because when I heard it this time, I was like, because there's vultures over across the street that's perch or roost or whatever it's called. They sleep in her trees at night. And so I thought, well, maybe that was one of the vultures. And this is a vulture screaming at night. Maybe he's upset about something. Maybe it's hurt. And so it sounded like this shrieking. And it was super eerie. I told the dogs, be quiet, shh, shh, shh. So they were quiet. And I got it on tape. Or got it on the, well, it was a video, but it's all dark outside. And so but when I posted it, then Amy said, I think that's a fox. And I went and looked it up, and it was the same sound as other people had of this fox screaming. But the one night when it was over here next to the house, because this was down like at the end of the driveway, this was over the other night, whatever, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. Then it was next to the house. And when I started hollering at it, then and putting the flashlight, I could hear it walking and breaking the twigs. So I knew it wasn't a bird on that one. But this other one, I was like, man, is that, because it wasn't the exact same sound. But I would say, now that I've heard the fox one, now I'm like, okay, that probably is the same voice though as the other one. And so I was listening to more fox sounds, and I was like, so it could have been, I don't know what it was doing, but some kind of screaming, choking, weird sound. So at least it wasn't an animal being killed, because that's what it sounded like, something killing something, which it could have been killing something, but there was no signs of death over there. But the guy, not the one next door to us, but the one next to him, they had a whole chicken coop, but they didn't have it set up to keep those chickens safe at night. And their chickens were knocked off one by one every night until there's none. Now there's another one down the street where they've got chickens. And my mom was saying, man, I sure hope they've got their chickens in a protected thing. But that fox is out there. He's just strolling, looking for things to eat. So I don't know. Maybe he screams when he's not got any food, or maybe he screams when he has food, but the shrieking. So I'll share the video on here. It's a TikTok, and I'll share it so you can hear the sound, or you can just go look up fox sounds. But anyways, now I feel pretty certain it was a fox, because I was like, man, what in the world would make this noise? Because it totally sounded like something killing a cat, and a cat screaming and choking. But I was like, that sounds more like something strangling a cat. And it took like 10 minutes. I was like, this is horrible sounding. But anyways, I think now it's some kind of, maybe it's a mating call, maybe it's a distress call. But the fox, and then I saw the fox one time in the evening. Oh, I've seen the fox a few times, but the one evening I was out front, and this night, this evening was weird because, oh yeah, it was the evening with I was in the garden, so I was watering. Hold on, let me drink the rest of this. So I was watering out in the garden, and so I don't know, it was like 6 o'clock maybe in the evening, so it wasn't like dusk or anything, because that would be, well, last night it got dark at 8. It was pitch black at 8. So it is moving quickly, and we are also losing the trees are now, it's like fall, so it's like fall in the middle of August. But I think what the deal is the so the cycle they've had us on for the seasonal cycle in the calendar and stuff, so it could keep going, but then it kept like not matching, and then they make excuses. Oh, it's what do they call it? The whatever it is, climate change. Yeah. Okay, so, and they keep telling us, oh, it's climate change, but really it's them spraying poison and killing bugs. Like the bees didn't die from climate change; it died because what you guys are putting in this fucking sky. So so they have this calendar that doesn't match, because the Gregorian calendar was created just like the fucking King James Bible. So anyways, I think it was some official too, some same thing, like some king or something, some powerful person who decides we're going to change time. We're going to change the calendar, because before, I mean, it was like 13 months, because like in Ethiopia, they're still on the 13-month calendar, and they're only in 2012. Well, that could have been a couple years ago. I don't know where they are now. Time is so fucking weird. But they aren't on the same year as us. And so we have been in this different cycle of time, and it's like kind of rushing us. And then, but in their cycle, because when it should be starting would be with the seasons. So they have it completely off from the seasons. Even the time of the new year is dead ass winter. Like, how is that the beginning of a new year? But that's where they throw everything off on the cycles and stuff. So they have everything out of whack, but it's like catching up with them. So I don't know necessarily that fall is happening early. I just think that they don't have us on the right time. And so it's probably happening at a natural time, but we think it's August when it's really the fall. So they keep us out of whack, out of sync. They keep us out of our like rhythm, our circadian rhythm, where we're balanced in with nature. So they, but anyways, last night was like dark at 8 o'clock at night. And then, it was like last week, it was like 9 or 9:30. It was still light, but now it's like 8 o'clock. And I know because, I've been staying up until like 8. And then there's times when Stella wakes me up, and I get up and I'm like, dang, it's still light. So, anyways, now it was pitch black. Last night it was like 8 o'clock, and it was like totally dark in here, out there. And I was like, dang. But when I was walking yesterday too, and then we were standing next to this one tree, I was like, oh my gosh, the tree is changing colors, and the leaves are drying up and crumbling on the thing. I was like, so it's fall, really. So it's going to seem like we have an early winter, I think, because it's going to, I don't know. This week it's supposed to be hot and sunny here, but then I bet you it's going to start changing really quick. And then it's going to go into a lot of rain. It's going to get colder and colder because not in the morning, like right now, it has been, some of the days it's really cold. And so I don't know because I don't think they tell us the truth on the temperatures either, because they don't do it right. They just throw out a random temperature probably. And but I think it's going to change all of a sudden and become really rainy and cold. And then it will start going into the winter blast where we'll start getting these snowstorms. They're going to probably have no telling. There's no telling what's to come. I mean, everybody's on edge over Aaron and I don't even know. I think today it's supposed to head into Bermuda, I think. So, but there's tons of people watching it. Tons of people getting prepared for what's to come because everybody, I mean, they're just hitting us with one disaster after another. So people are just like bracing for impact. And, which this could be, something that just wipes Florida, if it raises the water. I don't know. It's just so weird because my daughter has this, cruise that she's supposed to be going on here in a couple weeks. It's like, if it comes in and hits and does some significant damage, I mean, if it's down by Bermuda and that's where the Disney Island is, I mean, that could be damaged, like, and that would be kind of like karma. That would be kind of like, well, you had that coming. So the universe is going to be not handing out punishment, but putting things back into balance. So it's like what you've been pushing out is going to come back on you. And that's how, that's this karmic kind of concept, this karmic debt of, because whatever you've been putting out is going to come back on you. So Disney has put out a lot of bad stuff. So I would say, it's not going to have a good outcome. It's not going to be a good thing for it. It's going to fall apart, just like all the other stuff in this corporation is all going to fall apart. And which I did see a guy just a minute ago, because last night my last conversation was with my mom. She's really motivated to stand up to a credit card thing over this 30% that they're charging in interest, which to me, this is loan sharks. This is against our rights. This is a trap. And they're trapping people in debt and then holding this number. If you want a good credit score, you got to keep up with all your debt. And so it's this shenanigan, but it's against our human rights. And so it's set up for us to fail. And so they keep us in stress and keep all the rhythms out of, they keep people a mess. And so anyways, my mom had reached the point of being like, what do you think about standing up for, yourself? And it's like, well, let's go through this, because we know what I think about it is like, that's a part of what we're supposed to be doing, is realizing and standing up for ourselves, not playing along, not just being dutiful little citizens playing their game. We have to get uncomfortable. We have to stand up for ourselves. We have to push back. And whatever that means to each person has their own journey, each person has their own path. So it's up to each person to recognize where it is they're closing in on you, and you to value yourself and say, oh, hold up, wait a minute. So anyways, we're having this long talk about this last night, and about Dad, and she didn't want her credit score to be ruined, this whole thing. And so, and I've said all the things that I say on here. And so she, she's thinking she's going to send this letter. She's going to start this whole thing. But I'm like, well, I don't think it's going to really be a big thing, because I think the whole thing's about to fall apart. And the money thing and stuff. And it's going to be a total switch over. Everything is going to change. And it's like we're not going to need to be in debt anymore. It's like things are going to change. And we're not going to need to, on a house is $6,000. We're not going to need to go pay $650,000. We're not going to need all this debt. We're not going to be having cars. Like if they're going to roll out hover cars or flying cars or any kind of new kind of sophisticated technological kind of thing. It's going to be, it's not going to be $50,000 anymore. It's going to be a reasonable amount because that was the corporation, you know, just having their way with us and not using any fucking lube. So so anyways, it's all going to change. But this morning I saw this guy and he had that big X and a big R and a big P behind him on his screen, and some other stuff down here. But he was, you know, giving his insight onto this whole system, and he said that, whoa, this isn't, you know, like gonna break or something. This is a purposeful demolition, which, yeah, that's what is going on. This isn't happening by accident. They, they intended, when they shut us down, they intended to get us on their very controlled system that would have to do with compliancy. It was very controlled, and it was making our world smaller, putting us in a place where we had to, if we traveled more than a few blocks, we needed our papers, and everything was based on compliancy and reducing your carbon imprint, so you were more slave than you'd ever been before. And so that was the beginning of quarantine, was to destroy small businesses, to wreck people's credit, their jobs, and all that. Start the whole thing with people losing their homes and the whole tumbling. It was just like pushing everybody out and to problems, financial difficulties, and and then at the same time, which they had been doing for a long time with the LLCs, buying up all of the real estate and stuff so that they could have control over how we lived. And so they had been doing that for a while with the big corporations that we know of, like the Rock and the Guard. So they had been already doing that. And so their intention was to destroy the economy, make it where we all were broke as shit and nothing, you know, we were stuck. And then the collapse would put us into their new system. Well, so that's when this whole divide between the light and the dark. So the light came in to fight against the dark and to bring in a different system, because the petrol and the Swift is corrupt. And that's what this whole laundry thing and this exposing the palace in Rome and this whole fucking thing is exposing the corruption behind the system. But a lot of people are focused on the distractions and they don't pay attention to what's really going on behind the scenes. And so it kind of goes over their head because they're basing their perspective on fear, which is, you know, kind of a rational thing at this point in time, because that is what they are purposely doing through the programming of and the mind control of the people, is keep them distracted and keep them focused on the enemy with the orange hair. And so they have a lot of people fooled. But that's why I say, you know, it doesn't make any sense until the people see the truth, because it's like skipping the whole, you know, it's like getting prepared for the party and then skipping the party. It's like, no, the party is going to happen. People are going to see. And so, before the split, I just, that doesn't make no sense to me. And all these people are always like, well, they're never going to wake up and then it's going to split. It's like, I just don't see it that way. But so in the new one though, so they're going to expose the corruption in the old one. And so this guy was saying, so there, this whole thing with that guy who was brought to our attention that works at the Fed, he was another little fucking weirdo, and he was the one who was holding the interest rate raising and stuff like that, because he's a puppet. and who knows who his master is, but he's a puppet. And so, um, and Donald was on tour, and well, how are you spending this money? You're doing all this stuff, and so he was calling him out, and the guy was super uncomfortable and super awkward, and then I guess he's getting fired, or he was fired, but they're going to cause this to crash. This guy said that they're going to have a big inflation on the, so all of a sudden, I guess the interest rate will skyrocket or something, but it's to have it fall. So whatever they're going to do, however they're going to play it out, it's to destroy the current currency. So it's to destroy the because that is how it holds us into this position of debt slaves. So it's got to, however they're going to do it, however they're going to play it out, it's going to be, of course, it's going to be dramatic, but it's going to either go way up and crash or something, but it's going to crash. And then they're going to come up with a new system where everything is more fair. And then there will be some type of reparations, I think. There will be some kind of buffer in people's accounts. There will be more access to more money, and there's going to be a lot more community building. And somebody in his comments said, well, should I go buy a house then? I think one person had said, like, well, when the interest drops, there's going to be a lot of houses being bought or whatever. But see, we're going out of this whole system where there's interest rates and debt and stuff. That's going away. So to me, it would be wait for the reevaluation, but it's not going to just be a reevaluation on the homes and stuff. It's also going to make a difference where you live, because they put in the lure of the jobs. So certain cities, oh, we want to build this area up because it has to do with how they move us around, has to do with resources and stuff. It has more sneaky shit to do with them. And so then it's like, okay, well, we want to control this area, so we're going to move in jobs so that we have everybody going in and fighting for these jobs. Then we'll jack up the prices of their homes, and it's all a whole thing that they do. It's all corrupt, and that's why they're going down. The energy they've been putting out is coming back on them. And so the but so when this crash happens in this reevaluation, so it won't just be homes are cheaper, it's going to be a completely, I think, a change over where places are, because it's not going to be the nucleus of our cities, is not going to be where do we work, what's our job. And there's going to be new kind of offerings, new kind of positions, but a lot of jobs like warehouse things. There's going to be a lot of stuff that is going to be done by AI. So where people right now, you tell them that, and they freak out. Like, AI is taking our jobs. They're taking over the world. They're doing this. They're doing that. People are marrying their AI. People trust AI with all their information. Like, it's really wacky. But everything has got to come into balance and level out. But but AI is going to be doing a lot of jobs, but then there will be people who need more skills that confirmation, they'll need more skills. So skilled labor, creative jobs, you coming up with your own things, just like, basket weaving, you weaving, spending time weaving baskets and doing something you enjoy and getting creative and making them really cool, and then you selling them. There's going to be way more of people not wanting mass-produced things. Like I said, with the people who have been focused on making clothes, is there's lots of people who have really gone in that direction. Well, to me, those are going to be the people who are making our clothes in the future, is these people who have been focused on designing their own clothes, upcycling. I've seen people upcycle blankets, upcycle curtains, upcycle what are those other things? Tablecloths, all sorts of stuff from thrift stores, and turning them into clothes. And making their own patterns, all sorts of stuff. You know, taking old clothes and then putting them together, making new clothes. So all sorts of things that these people have been doing, and they are like the people who are going to end up being the people who make our clothes, which they're going to be more higher valued, because we're not going to just have these this manufacturers, slave labor, fast fashion, all of that. It's going to be a lot more, like I've said before, a lot more directed towards you. So you would be able to go pick, you know, what kind of style you want, what kind of patterns you want, what kind of clothes, what kind of fabrics. And there's going to be a lot more natural fabrics. We're going to get away from all the petroleum-based stuff. And so what I mean, we'll go more towards glass and metals and stuff in a way more from plastics. But there's a whole recycle going on with plastics. There's people who have figured out how to recycle plastics now. And so that will probably continue, but it will kind of peter out as plastics stop being created, I think, because it's got a lot of toxicity in the plastics. So, anyways, the but so we have people who have been going in these directions, just like the herbalists out there learning about all these herbs and stuff, which it's gonna, I mean, right now we're all like struggling, trying to figure out, like, well, how much do you take of this? Well, what do you take for that? Well, what do you do about this? And we're all trying to figure it out. But there's gonna be a huge amount of people who are trying to figure it out soon. And so that is where these people who have been really, their focus has been that they are going to have great value to other people. So maybe in books, maybe in conferences, maybe on video or something, but they'll start, what they've been putting out will come back to them. So they'll start getting like paid back for what they've been putting out. And so they will be valued in our society with their knowledge, because they are going to be knowledgeable about something we're all going to want to know more about. The clothes thing, those people have been really focused on doing that, and that's going to benefit them in the whatever, if it's the long run or whatever, but it's going to benefit them as things progress, because we're going to move out of this one stage and into this other, which is going to be more independent, so more distinct. It's not going to like follow trends. You're going to be, people are going to dress more for their body type. They're going to wear clothes that fit them, right? They're not going to just try and squeeze into these clothes or have these clothes hanging, whatever. It's going to be how they want to dress for their body type. And so it's not going to be so much, you know, just follow the trend, be what's in style and all that. Like, that's all a part of the trappings of this world of these other people being in control of us. So those things are going to go away. And the people who have been putting their energy towards this new way are going to come to the surface. And so, so like new designers, because that's one thing too with the old designers, they were all caught up in a corrupt system full of, you know, pedos and rituals and weird shit, because they were luring kids into, you know, careers that end up, you know, having more to do with traffic than it had to do with anything else. So anyways, if you get my drift. So so those things are going to be changing. And then there's going to be, you know, people who have just, you know, go and work in these warehouses and spend their whole life in the dark warehouse being treated like a slave. You know, I mean, there's places where, you know, they don't get to go and have breaks and stuff. So that's going to become more AI ran, but there's going to be people who will kind of like programmers and stuff, people who understand the machines. Like, it would be more of those people, and it would probably be like, I don't know, we're going to work way less than what we're doing now. Like, this 40-hour week, that's going to go away. Nobody's happy with that. That's going away. But we need to be productive. We can't all just sit back and be fat and happy. We have to be productive in order to keep our society running, in order to keep communities from collapsing. So we have to have integrity, and we have to put effort into keeping our world going. And but it's kind of like AI is going to pick up the pieces there for a while, because people are going to fall apart for a while. And, but there's people who have also been healing for a while, and they'll step into positions. And so they're going to, they will have a benefit to all the healing they've been doing, because there's going to be positions that will open up, and there's going to be more with apprenticeship, more training, and really giving kids new opportunities rather than university and getting trapped in these huge debt consumption vacuums that they are putting kids in, where they get them in debt from the time they get out of high school, in a debt that they can't even get out of until like retirement. It's like it's a fucked up system, man, and so it's going to fall apart. And so a lot of stuff is going to change like that, but they're going to start paying women to stay home. So they're going to give them opportunities to stay home and not go to work, because it's much healthier for the family. It's not just to keep women repressed. I mean, a woman can still go out and do things. It's not to oppress women. It's to elevate the family, because that men are going to be around more. They're not going to be overburdened by work, and people are going to get together more on a vibrational level than they are on an attraction, because on the attraction, their relationships were falling apart, families were falling apart, people were just working and working, and the kids have suffered. I mean, now it's the missing kid in California. I mean, it's obvious that they did something to him. I mean, all the information coming out, it's obvious that something happened to the kid at home. And but on this dad's record, and they were talking about he already injured one of his other kids, gave him brain damage, and they're in a breathing thing, and he can't walk. Like, it's a whole thing. And then he got like 10 months or something and 4 years probation. He should have been fucking neutered. Like, I don't know how it is that these people can be this abusive and that they are allowed to have kids again. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It should be, if you are charged with a certain degree of child abuse, then they castrate you or something. Well, I don't know, not necessarily castrate you, but do a vasectomy. Do something to where it is you can't have kids, or it's such a fine line, because the overstep by the government and CBS and all that stuff. But then when you see things like this, it's like, well, this is what it was supposed to be, to protect the kids from people like this. But the first child that he damaged was 10 weeks old. So, when she first went in the hospital, she had broken bones. A 10-week-old baby. And then, I don't know if he shook her or he threw her against the wall. I don't know. I mean, you've got so much violence with men at this point. They beat their dogs. They have sex with their dog. They beat. It's crazy. It's so. Our world is so disturbing. And then you can't help, well, I can't help but, see some of these men who are doing these horrible crimes. And I see them as a little boy, and these things were done to them, because a lot of this stuff is learned behavior. It's not, and they have not ever dealt with their own pain and suffering, their own trauma. And so they just persist it through the lineage. So they just continue the same behavior, instead of going and getting, working on their own anger and their own pain. It's just a cycle. And so, but see, that's a part of our breakdown in humanity, where we start to see, like, this just goes on and on and on until we make a change. And so, I don't know. But, I mean, this guy obviously has no control of his own self. I mean, he's got 5 fucking kids in this one, which a lot of people are like, I was saying the baby looks like it has some kind of syndrome or something. People are saying that he has shaken baby syndrome is what he's got. Because if you go look at the pictures, he looks just like the pictures of the shaken babies. So, and this guy, and this baby's 7 months old. It's already gone. I mean, this guy can't handle a 10-week-old. So 7 months, like, no telling how many times this little kid has been victimized by this angry man who's huge. This guy's huge too. And anyways, he looks huge when he's standing out with the crowd. He looks like he's big, way bigger than other people, way bigger than the woman he's married to, which isn't the baby's mom. This is the stepmom. The baby's mom is not with him. And so that's a whole nother thing. The whole thing is just so weird. But anyways, it's looking more and more like there's supposed to be an announcement today too. Like there was rumors yesterday that he was found in a dumpster. But I don't know, because there's so many rumors going around. There's so much misinformation always when anything's going on. There's people who put out fake reports and make it look like the news. It's crazy. So anyways, there's supposed to be more, but they've pulled back on everything looking for him and stuff. And they found blood in the home, and then they hadn't announced yet whose it is. They dug up the yard, didn't find anything. So I don't know. I mean, there's people, there's a little, that young girl in Nebraska who was like 16 or 15, and her parents are the ones who called the cops because the mom went in to clean her room or something, found blood everywhere, and then goes and follows the blood, looks in this dog food bag, finds a baby in there. It's been, and so this young girl, she goes, has a baby, has in her room without anybody knowing. It's like, fuck, I'm a screamer. Like, I don't know how these girls do it. I mean, they're like screaming. But have this baby, nobody knows. And then I mean, it seems like there's more, nicer ways, like suffocation maybe, but, this is the thing too, is that our stories have a lot more complexity to just the storyline that you're in right now. So, I don't know. You just can't go into every single person's storyline and how some of these horrific things and what people do to each other and stuff. But it's horrifying, man. It's horrible. So, anyways, and you think like, oh, a little farm girl in Nebraska, and she's out there murdering her babes. So it's not just, it's all over the place. And is it because she, doesn't want people to know? Is it because she's mad? Is it, who knows? Because you've got people just, like, they can't hide who they are anymore. There's no hiding it. Whatever your toxicity is, whatever your problems, your pain is going to come to the surface, because you need to acknowledge it. You need to see it. You need to realize it, and you need to try and understand where it comes from. And so it's a part of the transformation at this time, which, not everybody's going to follow through. Some people are going to be stuck just going over and over and over. And that's why they will go back to opportunities to go and live and learn more perspective in order to move through out of some of the cycles that they're stuck in, out of the loops and the entanglements that they are stuck in as a soul, as a group of souls. So, man, my stomach is hurting right now. So it was hurting all in the night. Like, who fucking knows what the fuck is going on in this world? Like, I know there's a lot of poison where it's like, do I even want to go and float? Do I even want to go out in the sun? In the water too, is it absorbing a lot of poison into my skin? And I haven't wanted Stella to go in it because of all the poison, and she likes to go in and drink it, and I kept telling her, well, you have a sore, but now she's got another sore, but then here I go and soak in it. It's like, and then I keep having all this sickness and these weird things. So it's just poison, poison, poison everywhere in our fucking environment. You can't go out and just enjoy the world without, having to suffer from all the toxins and stuff that have been put out here. But it's all gonna blow. But that could be another reason why new areas will be more, what is that word? More built up, more, new communities will be more built rather than to keep staying in the old ones, because the old ones have become so toxic in the water, the water, the dirt, the air, everything. And so if there won't be like new areas where we begin to build up communities, but there will be new kind of business opportunities and stuff. But anyways, I think that there will be incentives for moms to stay home with, like, you can teach your kids at home and be paid, because the education system's going to have a whole complete overhaul, because it is a government institution and it's built up on corruption and it's full of fucking pervs. So it's got to, it's going to fall apart. And it's going to fall apart in all different ways in all different towns and cities. And it's just now starting. You got a 56-year-old beating up a 1-year-old. And so yeah, it's already started, but it's gonna, this year I'm sure it's gonna be rough for the people who are gonna be in school, which my grandkids are gonna be in school. But it's going to be rough. I think it's going to really be pushing people to the brink of different things that are going to happen at school, different rules, different all sorts of shit, where it's going to really be pushing people to see, like, you need your kid to be at home. You need more control over, your kid needs to feel more connected to you. You need to not just be pushed out the door. Here, go to the indoctrination camp and spend your day with all these angry kids who just nobody parent wants anything to do with them or something, because everybody's got to hurry and get to work, and everybody's stressed out over their bills and their shit-ass relationships. So it's just a big, mess that has to fall apart in order to restructure. So the school thing is going to be falling apart all this year for sure. It's shocking that it's even starting again to me, but that's the way our society is. And there's lots of people who feel like, well, you have to, it's against the law to not put your kids in school. But that's going to change, and it's going to be financially, there will be those incentives. Here, we'll give you $10,000 for you to teach your kids, so then moms can stay home and work with their kids, because $10,000, you think, well, I make $30,000 a year, and that's not enough. But you're not putting into account that you're not going to have all these payments, and you're not going to need to go and have all these different work clothes, and they're not going to have control over how much you have to spend and the trends and what makeup, and like, things are going to change drastically. And so you're not going to need as much money as what they have convinced you that you need. There's going to be a huge change in priorities, and so people aren't going to be putting themselves into these binds, kind of. So it's going to be, going to seem like a lot more money, and there's going to be a lot more, I don't know, there's going to be more incentives. I think there's going to be more things, because he's even said for people who are going to have kids and families, they're going to have extra money that's going to be given to them. So they're going to try and put more money into families, but it is to keep the family unit, which the family unit began to fall apart when they started moving moms out of the homes. Even though before that, it was still like women had no rights, and there was a lot of fuckery. But we've moved through those things. We're not going to go backward to that. We've learned from those things, but we're going to also, in the 70s, when they went through the whole women's lib and women need to get out there and work and stuff, it was just to break down the family, to get the family to fall apart. And that worked. I mean, look where we're at. And you got single moms out there having to try and make it, and broken families everywhere. Men out there knocking one girl up after another. And so it's, I mean, men have multiple women pregnant at the same time. And so it's all, you know, a big fuck fest, a big fuck show. And that's another reason also why we have such an extreme epidemic right now with the AIDS. And that's, you know, it's a part of the whole breakdown of where we were putting our energy, how it was coming back. And so that's why it's got to be like a complete it's like a breakdown to break out to break through. So we'll break through to the other side, we'll get out of it, but it's going to break. And then, you know, and everything that breaks is going to be uh, like a sweeping away. So there's going to be people who are attached to things that will be going, you know, people who are attached to mindless sex, you know, they'll probably be taken out by the AIDS. And that's a part of their role. It's part of what they're here to experience. So it's, nobody can experience the wrong thing. Nobody can do this wrong. That's impossible because of it's fate and destiny, which was something I heard somebody saying, and it only, you know, confirmed to me more of like, see, destiny is a thing, fate is a thing, timing is a thing. Like, even when, you know, people get so frustrated because they're manifesting, and the manifestation's not coming. But it has to do with timing. There's a whole thing. And you're always going to do what you're going to do. It's not like, well, I waited too long and now it pushed the time. No, you were always going to do what you were going to do. But there's a lot of different things that have to happen in between. And so everything has its own set time of how things happen, how they play out. So when you're manifesting, you know, your better life and you're going towards it, not just sitting in a corner envisioning it, but you're actually taking the steps towards it, then, and it's not there yet, don't get frustrated. It has to do with timing. And I think a lot of the timing that we're all waiting on has to do with this shift. So it's, you know, it has to shift, the energy has to shift so that we can all actually enter into this vibration where we can all enter into, you know, this better world, these better lives, our better timelines, however you want to look at it. And so but I think that is one of the things, because there's a lot of things we have to learn through all of these things that are happening so that things really change in the world. It's not superficial, because we are used to superficial. We're used to, you know, fast fashion. Give it to me quick. Yeah, I want this, I want that. And those things are changing. And we have to take, oh my God, he wants to play. We have to change our attitude and stuff. And so there's a lot of things that we have to learn throughout this whole process. So that is, I think, one of the things that has got people's best lives, not like on hold, but it's a longer journey than what people were thinking there was going to be. So don't get frustrated if your, you know, best timeline's not here yet. Just realize, well, it has to do with destiny and timing. And this big shift is going to be a big release of energy. It's going to change the energy really quick. And so a lot of people are going to fall into their best timelines. And but keep going towards it. Keep pushing towards what it is you want. And no matter what level, no matter what step you're on, keep going towards it. And everything will have more clarity. There will be more, things will clear up. The fog will clear. We'll see more clearly. We'll understand things a lot more clearly when this shift happens. And so, and that's not the splitting apart. That is this shift of seeing the truth, which, you know, like this Stephen Greer, whatever the ufology guy, I'm pretty sure that's his name, that he's saying over the next couple days, there's going to be huge disclosures over the truth of aliens, and because they're really just multi-dimensional beings, and they're a lot of them are higher vibration than they're given credit for, because we are dealing with a lot of low vibration ones now. The Vamps, the Dracos, not all reptilians are low vibration, but there is the ones here that have to do with these controllers those ones are, even though there could be some that are more white hatish, there could have been some that were like, well, we're kind of stuck with these ones, but now that the white hats are here, or the alliance, or however you want to look at it, now that the light has come in, we're going to go over there. And so there was like been shifts going. I don't know so much as like Dracos are shifting, because they're pretty more like the vamps. They're more like, don't understand compassion. Why would you have compassion? That would lower your opportunity of survival, which is, you know, a valid perspective on some philosophies, but it's also a low vibration, because higher vibration has compassion and empathy, and you know that you survive and you continue. So it's not, it's a different philosophy, a different perspective, you know, just like the vamps, like feeding off of people like these tribes that would live off of conquering a tribe and devouring them. That's like what these people, the vamps, are like. So some of these are not moving into, you know, a higher vibration, but there is a thing with the reptilians that they aren't all bad. You know, they've got a bad rap, but there's a lot of good ones with good philosophies and stuff. So anyways, there's probably some of them who switched over, but the ones that have been down here have been a lot of, but there has been, you know, like colonizers, ones that, you know, over time. And then there's other ones that have come here to come in, and there's hybrids, there's all sorts of things. Like, there's a lot of stuff. But anyways, but the alien disclosure will be probably about some of that. But, you know, when they're telling the truth is when that these are not people out in space flying around on flying saucers looking for trouble. No, it's multidimensional people. They go through vibrations, through realms of reality based on vibration, which makes them multidimensional, and that they are higher minded in spirituality and the connection to source or the truth, or however you want to look at it. So anyways, but we'll see, because there's supposed to be this attack that's coming, that they're going to attack us with this big fake alien invasion situation. So there's going to be this huge attack, and then supposedly, you know, that's going to get a lot of people. But don't be, you know, just stay indoors, I guess, if they come out and start shooting us with lasers and shit. But then after, then there's supposed to be, you know, I don't know, the truth, real ones come or something. I don't know how it's all going to go, because there's just so much speculation. There's so many people saying this and that, and it's just like, whatever happens is how it's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen when it happens, how it happens, and it's kind of just, you know, just sit back and watch it happen. Just remember, we're like in a movie. You know, you're observing rather than participating on the level of expelling your energy, because that's what they want to do, is suck the energy out of you. But when you can stand back and you can just watch and don't get caught up in the drama and don't get scared, because we're going to see a lot of fear when this stuff starts happening, whatever happens, however all this shit goes. The collapse of the money thing, it's going to cause a lot of fear, a lot of freaking out. If there's aliens, I mean, you can see what people are already doing. People are getting aliens on their fucking doorbell cams, or getting them in their front yard. Portals are opening here, all sorts of shit, and people are just freaking the fuck out. It's like, well, don't freak out. This was always the world we were in. We were just blind to it because we were so indoctrinated to not see it. But it's always been there, so there's nothing to fear. And this is our opportunity to start seeing the truth, and our awareness, to be aware of all the things that are really around us. So don't be all scared of everything that happens. So I keep having it going in my mind how scary it is that when that fox is out there screaming the first night, how horrible it sounded, and I could hear something walking on the sticks, breaking it, and I was like, oh my god, is it an alien? Get in the house. But there is like skinwalker alien. I mean, there's also, you know, scary ones out there, and they're werewolves, vampire, all of that stuff is real. And so, but it's going to go into vibration thing. You know, I don't know necessarily that we would be going into a world where werewolves are living amongst us if they are out killing other things to eat, because we're going to go into a world where we're not going to be taking something else's life to sustain our own. We're going to go into a time of peace on earth, where everybody has the right to exist. So I don't know how it's all going to happen, but that's the reality I'm going to. That's the age of Aquarius. That's the heaven on earth. You know, in the heavens, you don't kill something in order for you to live. So it's going to, those kinds of things are going to be stopping. And that's why so many people, you know, are reevaluating how they eat and why their bodies reject certain things and stuff, because it's all a part of the like development of your new self. And so in anyone who's not, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not. It just means that their impactful moment is still to come, or, you know, that they're just here for something different. So it's all going to start making more sense, I think. People are going to start seeing things play out more, just because there's a lot of stuff I've been talking about for a long time that sounded so wacky, but now you have all these other people talking about it. So it'll be the same kind of thing. Things will start all of a sudden making sense to people, and people will start seeing things differently. So it's going to continue in that way of development and understanding and changing priorities and stuff. But I definitely think there's going to be a huge thing on building up families and being more present in your family and putting more time and effort. And there'll be a big shift in kids, where right now we have like fucking mentally ill kids. Like, it's so crazy what we got going on. But there's going to be a big shift of where people are going to, I don't know, like I just saw this woman the other day, and she said that she kicked her 9-year-old out. And her 9-year-old, they'd been having problems with her since she was 3. And she'd been on medication since she was 5 or something. And that she's got serious mental problems. And the mom kicked her out, but she said, I didn't kick her into the streets. She lives with her dad and her grandparents, and they don't have other kids there. But this woman has 4 other kids, and this kid hurts these kids. But I don't know. It's like we're going to get more to the depth of what it is disturbing people. You know, that what it is. And people are going to go into themselves deeper and stuff. People, like, there's going to be such a difference in how people are going to see themselves and approach life and approach, you know, we're not going to just be like, oh, well, they're crazy. You know, it's like, well, what is the real problem? And it may not be clear in this life. Like, it could have been like, well, they were born this way. But then you need to go into your past lives and try and see what's the problem. What are we carrying forth here? What do we need to do to change things? So there's going to be different ways. I don't know if there's going to be practitioners that are going to help people delve more into their past lives to try and heal wounds that they're dealing with now. But I would speculate that that's probably going to happen. There's going to be a lot more going into the soul's journey rather than just this one lifetime, especially when you've got these relationships that you just don't understand. What's the fucking problem? So I think that there's going to be more depth to this healing. Yeah, there's going to be a lot more than, you know, some of the society is going to go forward and create this other world, but other people will go out and continue to experience their growth and development as a soul, and through their practice of experiencing and perspective, because perspective is what gives you who you are. It's like it gives you more windows to your soul. It gives you more insight. It gives you more capabilities. And what it leads to, though, is your ability to have compassion and empathy for other people's stories instead of judgment and thinking that people are worthless because they're going through this or going through that. To see, like, oh no, I know how that happens. I've experienced that. I went through something similar in a past life. I've been through this. I've been through that. So then it develops us into being a more compassionate creatures so that we aren't so hateful towards each other and judgmental and, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. Instead of that is to see and watch and learn through observation how they handle it, and that can also expand your vision. So there's opportunities to expand through other people's experiences when you pay attention on the right level, not just sit there and think, well, they're stupid, they're an idiot, well, they should have done it this way, stupid ass, instead of seeing, like, just watching and seeing, like, well, how's this going to play out? What are they going to do? How are they going to get out of this? And, and that you can learn from other people's mistakes instead of just sitting and saying that they are an idiot. So, anyways, that's my little earthquake. That's stuff that I think is going to be going on. And let me think if there was. And also in the night thing, it does seem like this up and down, up and down. Like some nights it's like go deep into these sleep and go into these other worlds. And then other nights that like the energy is so intense you can't even relax, you can't get to sleep at all, and everything is tense. Like that may be why that fox is out there hollering, because it feels how tense everything is. And one thing I've noticed is my dogs sleeping. Oh my God, they are sleeping so much. So I think there is a part of nature that's just as naturally, knows what to do, with this energy fluctuation. It just kind of, puts them out, and they just, I don't know. I think a lot of the animals are going to, are evolving with us. They're probably more evolved than us. They're probably the ones helping us evolve. But then you have other people who are just there's so much cruelty, so much animal cruelty right now. But that just is kind of shows in our humanity the the lack of compassion towards animals, but the not seeing the value of the animal, not seeing it as a soul, not seeing what it's here has to offer. And it's just, I don't know, there's so much hatefulness out there. So anyways, but it's all, and another thing too, the people who are putting that energy out, it's going to come back on them. So all of the things, whatever you're putting out is going to come back on you. So if you're putting out positive things of changing your life, then you're going to see that energy is going to come back on you, and positive things are going to start changing in your life. If you're putting out a lot of hate and bitterness and stuff, that's going to come back on you. And then people are not even going to know what to do with it. They're going to get more beat down, like life's too hard, life sucks, see why it sucks and all that. But that's where people are going to have to start realizing it's you're creating this, you're creating your own world, you're creating your own life. You've got to be more mindful of the energy you put out. And it's hard to put out positive energy when you hate yourself, when you hate the world, when you're angry, when you feel despair all the time. But that's why there's so much that has to do with the healing, to get yourself out of those positions and get yourself into a position where you can put out good energy, you can put out positive energy, so that you can get the experience to have good things happen to you. Otherwise, you keep yourself trapped in a loop and Groundhog Day of negative experiences. And so there's a lot that has to break through. And that's a part of, like, a spiritual realization of, I don't know, I guess quantum physics. What you're putting out is going to come back on you. But we're going to have a lot of things changing, towards this quantum physics and stuff. And it's going to have to do with the money system, 100%. But there's going to be such a different kind of buildup of communities. And so that's why I would be like, well, I wouldn't just rush out and buy a house right now, because it's a totally different energy. You'd be trying to buy a house close to the schools, close to the job, right in the neighborhood, all of those things. The things that you're looking for now in a house is going to be different than what you're looking for, say, could be 6 months, could be next year. I don't know. But it's in our near future. And it has to do with this collapsing the system. And once it starts collapsing, I also don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know if they're going to do it quick. I don't know if they're going to do it slow. I don't know. It's going to be however humanity needs it to be to impact it the most for change. So, but there will be this save the day new system that's going to come. It's going to have to do with the gold and silver and all that. So it's going to be asset backed. So it will be completely different, and it will not be inflated, and there will not be, I don't even think there's going to be all this interest rate stuff, because we're going to be out from under the loan sharks. So, oh my gosh, that was just a fucking kick in the throat. Oh my gosh, that was intense. But we're going to be out from under the loan sharks. So they can kick and fight us as much as they want, but we're going to be out from under their thumb. And so I don't know that interest will have anything to do with our future, because we're not going to be taking loans out like that. And we're not going to be out trying to screw other people over in order for us to make it, because we're all going to be able to be making it. So things are just going to be a lot easier and a lot more fair. Not this unfair kind of trap, especially in debt, or we're being run by gangsters and loan sharks and knee breakers and shit. So it's going to be big changes. So anyways, I would say, you don't need to run out and buy a house right now. And that's probably why no doors are opening for me right now in that way, is because of all these big changes that are coming. And so then, there will be places that are going to be opening up, new communities, new neighborhoods, and they're not going to have to do with, I keep seeing it is going to be way more of a, like where the Grange used to be. It was like more of a place where people went to not just socialize, but like a center, a nucleus to the town where people could come and, have meetings and talk to each other, meet for potlucks, meet for square dancing, whatever it was, that there was a place. Well, I see it now as being more of like a community center, which the community centers could also have things with the healing, but I think it's going to have things to do with education. It could have things to do with where you go to get food, but there's going to be some kind of like a, like a marketplace, a social, to me, I don't know, I kind of see it like how, like the YMCA, this place where it has all these different things you can do. And you can go there and have classes, you can go there and swim, you can go whatever, but like a community kind of center, and especially one that has a place where kids can go and do things, so they're not just bored in the streets thinking about, I'd like to kill somebody. Well, how would I do it? Hey, why don't we all get together and go kill somebody? Like, oh, okay, what the Dexter we got going on here? So there would be more of like, well, let's go play basketball. Let's go learn how to basket weave. Let's go learn how to crochet. Let's go learn how to do something that's relaxing. Let's go learn how to paint. Let's go learn how to play guitar. Let's become a band like that one kid band that's got going. They're good. So more kids that go in and find their own skills, their own creativity, where it's being like diminished in our society. But, and instead to start elevating that parts of people. But anyways, that's what I think. There's going to be a lot of kind of community centers, which it could, there can be a lot about growing. It could be, have kids come and they're the ones in the community that are out there doing the growing the food. And they have other adults that are out there showing them, but they have a purpose. you know, where they feel like they're important in the town, they're feeding the town. You know, there's going to be that kind of energy where people begin to find purpose and simplicity in doing the simple things that help others, and they're going to find their truth, their value in themselves by doing these things. So there's going to be huge shifts. But that's why, you know, one thing is like, well, I wouldn't just, you know, like that one lady, well, when the interest rates go, should I run out and buy a house? Well, you probably are not going to want the house that you have once you go out and get it. And that's going to be a forcing, where you're trying to force instead of go with the flow. And when you try and force things, there's always lessons. So you go out and you get that, and then it's like, oh, dang, I went and got this, and now I don't even want it. Nobody else is going to want it, because everybody else is going to be wanting to go to new communities and new opportunities and new possibilities. And then there's going to be also, when there's going to be new builds, it's going to be, they're going to be cooler. They're going to be made better. There's going to be, you know, stuff that is more technological, or, you know, it's going to be new things. And there, like I said before, there could be houses that are going to be built like on, and I saw a community like this recently, where they look like spaceships up in the air. It looked like Jetsons homes. It looked like spaceships up in the air, and then these long, so not just stilts, but these long kind of structures. So they're up in the air, but they are also look like spaceships. So, but then you think about, like, if we do have flying cars, well, those would be handy. I don't know how they get into them, how, maybe there's some kind of stairs or something, I don't know, but they were cool looking. And this, but maybe it was AI, maybe because AI is showing us the direction we're going, because I do think that we're going in these other directions where things are going to be a lot different. Like, there's this city that is over by Bali. I really want to go to it. It's really cool. And so they have been making a new kind of city for, I don't know, the past couple of years. I think it started like in 2022 or something. But it's super artistic. There's like fucking cool ass statues everywhere. They have houses built with trees in them. It's totally, totally different. And that's what we're going to be doing. This thing's totally different. We're not going to be just following the templates that they've put out there for us. We're going to be a lot more creative. You know, there's going to be a lot more art, for sure. There's going to be a lot more art in our lives, a lot more music. And so, anyways, things are going to be changing. That's the way I see it. So, that's why go with the flow. Don't try and force things, because when you're trying to force things, then it always ends up being some kind of lesson. So, I swear, this, and the one girl who I saw who was saying she was doing the pump, I've seen so many videos of the people doing the pumpkin seed, but the one where the girl had all that hair, I saw her again, and she said that was a month and a half, that she had started the pumpkin seed oil pills a month and a half ago, and her hair just started growing, which a lot of people are saying that their hair has been growing. So I don't know if they've been, you know, a toxin that we're dealing with is some kind of a DHT thing or something, because this blocks DHT, which I don't even know what all these things are. But anyways, so but mine's not going to be here for, I don't know, it's supposed to be here Friday. So, but I'm still eating the pumpkin seeds. So, but I'm going to get the pumpkin seed oil pills. So we'll see. But where this hair is now, we'll see. And then plus, I'm expecting, if it really is doing that, that there will be alfalfa hair that you'll see like going all over the place. So we'll see about that. And then my tooth, it's not hurting as bad today, and I was really been trying to look in the mirror and see which, I gave my mom a tube of that P6 stuff. She loves it. She's like, oh my God, I love this new toothpaste. So, but I'm just freaked out because of whatever's going on with my tooth. So I have still been using the bentonite clay, but I'm gonna go through my other ones too. But anyways, it's, and I look up real close, it looks like that there's parts that are filled in, but there's still this depth. But it just keeps being like, man, is it sinking in more, or is it building up? I don't know. I mean, I'm doing everything I can to replenish my minerals and do the right things. So I can just keep trying to do the right things. But that is where it's at. So anyways, through all my rambling and everything I'm saying, but you can see the purpose of why it is that people need to learn how to love themselves, because we got so much hate in this world. They hate themselves, they hate their kids, they hate their parents, they hate. There's so just hate, and the hate is coming from within because they hate themselves. That is the benefit. And there's so much where people are so limited in their view of themselves. They see themselves in this life and they think, how weird to have a past life. Well, maybe I had one. No, you had zillions of them. And not only that, you are carrying the parts of yourself from there. So you have to acknowledge your soul. This is your soul's journey, not just this character that you have created in this one, which there's also this girl out there sending out this her whole new healing thing is to create a fake character. I say you want to break through all the fake characters you've created and find your authentic self and learn how to love yourself. Learn how to love everybody and learn how to have the day you want to have. That's what I would say. So anyways, but I'll say it again tomorrow because we'll talk about it again then. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.